Once I heard how much people spent on Valentine's Day, I thought to myself, something is not quite right here. I'm gonna say something completely subjectively. Apart all these billions we spend on Valentine's Day, we forget very important asset in our life: time. So with that in mind, I wanted to do something innocently pure, perhaps a little bit childish, delicious, sweet, and thinking about someone while doing it, just as love is. So without further ado, let's go to the kitchen and I will show you how I made them step by step. First of all, I think you will be surprised how ridiculously easy they are to make. Literally, from start till the end, you can have these buns hot on your plate within a few hours. So the dough. I start with milk and butter, put both on a pan and melt on a very low heat. It won't take long, and towards the end, when I see a tiny piece of butter, I remove from the heat and leave to dissolve completely. Don't worry, it will melt gradually, as we don't want it to bring it to boil. You can also use some spices like cardamom. Since I'm not a big fan of cardamom, I leave you to choose what you want to add to the bun dough. So off the heat and leave to cool down to room temperature. Then add the yeast, dissolve it and mix it with a whisk. At this point the mix has dropped to temperature, as my home is pretty cold, so I go with the rest of the ingredients. I chose flour with a little bit more nutrients and fiber, not only white flour, so I mixed wholemeal spelt and white strong flour. Spelt flour tends to give a nutty and slightly sweet flavor too. However, if you don't have it or it's hard to find it, use white bread flour. It works perfectly too. Finally, add sugar and salt and start with the speed 1. Mix till the dough gets together and increase to the speed 2 and mix for around 10 minutes. What you want to achieve is a smooth, elastic and shiny dough. The dough should come out clean of the sides of the bowl. Leave to rest until it doubles in size. As I already mentioned, my home is quite cold, so it took me more than 1 hour to proof. Normally it should take around half an hour or 40 minutes. Then shape the dough into 12 pieces, and that will make around 60 grams each. Once divided, shape into round balls and leave them covered on the bench work table. I decided to do 3 different variations, which is simple butter demerara sugar, cinnamon and cocoa and sugar. So it means 4 buns each. Let's take 4 at a time and roll one by one. I don't use it immediately as I leave gluten strands to relax, otherwise the dough bounces back. Then I take one by one, roll a bit more till it's thin and spread some softened butter. Then sprinkle Demerara sugar and roll it like a cigar. It helps if you don't use flour to roll these buns, so it sticks very nicely. Now comes the most important part of the process. Knead the ends and kind of glue them together. Then position like that and cut the rolled bun in half. What's left is just to open and arrange it in the shape. For the cinnamon variation, I mix 50 grams of Demerara and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Now follows exactly the same method. So we have already this one's resting and proving, and soon we will finish the last 4. So we're gonna cover them with a damp cloth or with a cling film while we do the last 4. Last but not least, slightly chocolatey version. The same sugar, but mixed with rich cocoa powder. Let's roll one last time just to confirm how I did it. Don't forget to tuck them well underneath, so you will keep a nice shape. Put them together with other hearts, let them proof covered, and in the meantime, let's do cinnamon syrup. In the pot, put sugar, water, cinnamon stick and some ground cinnamon. Bring it to boil and leave it aside. The hearted buns became puffy and soft, so it means they are about to end their journey in the oven, which is already heated at 180 degrees.
When we wake, hear the birds
Egg wash the uncut part, also touch the curves of the heart.
side by side, our fears are done. Oh, the good times just
Additionally, if you like, sprinkle some more sugar. Bake at 175 degrees for around 15 minutes. While they are still hot, brush with sugar syrup. Now, you can keep falling in love with them, give it as a present, or eat it while they're still warm. I couldn't keep my hands off them, so I had to try one immediately.
with you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it. We don't need no
One last thing before I go. If you want to say, hey Chris, I like what you do, and here's a little motivation for you so you can keep going. And in the meantime, you can copy the recipe, which is in the description, and enjoy these beautiful buns. You know, I appreciate any kind of support here. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next week.
side by side and through and